It's very challenging to go into scaling if you're not internally organized in order to support that scale. Have a lot of potential on one side. There is talent in terms of technology building and software building, which can help us in the process of launching and growing a startup. I believe we can still learn a lot on the business side and product management and marketing side. But I think it's much better to start a startup here in Eastern Europe, to do the development here and have the business elsewhere where you can monetize it better. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I do all these activities in terms of startup ecosystems, because I believe we have an edge, and we will have this edge if we use it in the near future compared with other startup ecosystems, and in Western Europe or US, and definitely we can reach higher. And there is a lot of attention which is given by the venture capitalists towards Eastern Europe, because they realize there's a lot of potential, and UiPath was one of the examples that came up from here recently. I believe before funding, a startup should be well prepared in terms of knowing and understanding the market, the problem that they are trying to address for the users, the business model that they plan to have. And it's important to have to go into fundraising mode when you actually have a good clue of what you're looking for and what you're doing. So I would say you need to have the financial predictions prepared, and to understand, to be able to explain to the investor what will you spend the money on. Then to be clear about, as I said, about the market, about the go-to-market strategy, about the business development part, because they will ask you. In this area, we could build products in the end, but to build them right is more important, and to have the right target and to know what we do afterwards with the product. And third, I think in the world of venture capital and fundraising, it's important to gain trust and to have a good network in the area, in this domain, because people invest based on trust in the team, in the advisors, in the other investors. So this is important as well, to be credible as a startup and well prepared to answer questions and be professional. Well, I think at each stage they are looking for slightly various things, but in the very early stage startups, as we don't have metrics of the product or very early metrics, investors are looking to understand if the team is ready to execute, implement, it's motivated enough to grow the startup beyond, and is able to resist all the challenges and go through the obstacles that they will encounter on the way. As well, they're looking to invest in a growing market. A growing market, because usually a startup is raising together with a wave that they are actually on. If there is market demand, then the startup will grow. If the market is going down, then the startup will have to put much more effort into growing, and investors don't usually like this. So that's why they prefer to invest into fast-growing markets, because they can satisfy their exit preferences. And as well, it's important to understand the venture capital mindset and what kind of startups are they looking for. I mean, understand the fund, understand the angel, and what are their preferences, their investment thesis, in such way that you can approach them from that perspective. And it might be that you're not fitting their profile, so it's best to look for another other type of investors. So I believe each stage is quite challenging, both before the growth and during the growth. What I've noticed is that a lot of people have brilliant ideas, and they can focus on the tech part, especially in our side of Eastern Europe, but they have challenges in creating a company, actually. First, they could organize themselves on building the product, but then creating the processes of marketing, of business development, of operational management in order for the company to grow. This is really challenging, and many people having the technical background but not having the business part, they need to appeal to someone else who has experience in the field in order to become CEO or COO, and to raise the bar and organize the team better and the processes in order to be able to scale. It's a Very challenging to go into scaling if you're not internally organized in order to support that scale, to have the user acquisition processes in place, to have the onboarding, to have the customer support, to have the business model up and running, and so on. So I think we're using our challenges and transforming them into strengths. We have a lot of tech talent available, which is worldwide recognized and appreciated. We have a rising number of startups and tech companies. Now we have unicorns in the past years appearing from Eastern Europe, which is amazing and encouraging, because VCs in Silicon Valley are looking now towards us because they don't want to miss the next unicorn coming from here. Startups can be built with a lower cost than in the West, like twice in terms of product building compared with Western Europe, and even 4 times compared with US or Silicon Valley, which is an advantage, a huge advantage, especially for venture capitalists, because they are able to do more with their money in the end. People are ambitious and driven to succeed. I mean, we want to grow, and we want to move fast, and we want to achieve. And this is really important for a startup to have this ambition as a trait. And there is steady market growth with more capital available. This reflects the development of the region and more people willing to invest in funds or angel investors to contribute in startups. And as well, accelerators and incubators is a growing trend. I think also an advantage is the fact that we can actually see what's happening in US and Western Europe and then apply it in our area and be ahead of the local market as well. And there is, in the end, there is no difference in terms of information between Western Europe or US and Eastern Europe, because we have access kind of to the same information, and we can think trends, we can build products if we're really paying attention to what's happening there much easier compared with them.